Hey guys. Hey guys. So I just woke up early. I'm gonna take a look at the markets, what we have happening thus far. Um, it's really not much, right? Considering what we have thus far for the week, I don't think we really have much going on. But I'm just gonna use this time, this opportunity, to take a look at some of the fundamentals, as well as possibly some technical levels that we could get on GBP, JPY, and that's really like the only trade that I'm gonna put money towards, besides actually having a position here on 80 USD, and also some 80 card positions open as well. So hopefully you can see a play possibly back up into these levels here. I'm expecting price to actually push up, if we have enough volume. I guess it's just to see, right, from the markets. We should see price actually push up, seeing that how we actually rebounded from this previous sell-off. But yeah, just a matter of volume being in the market to see if we get that continuation actually. Right. Not much. Ad retail sales actually came out good, right? They'll probably use this as momentum during London Open. Let's see what we have for GPY. Just looking for some quick profits, quick moves. Mm. Did have good retail sale numbers, right? So possibly we could see price continue heading upwards during London Open. Acting out of this support, right? This is a retest here within this level of that daily high, right? But taking a look on the 1 hour, right? Where you can see that that daily close actually came down from this level. Right, we take a look at the 4 hour. We're actually maintaining this. The before the break, right? Before the break above, we had this area of resistance. We're actually maintaining that right now, right? So we had that strong bullish movement. Had that strong bullish movement upwards, right? And now we're just rejecting off of this level. Could continue moving upwards. So that's just something to note as well. Possibly could actually enter. To continue going higher, right? Let's see previous levels of rejection that we are taking a look at here. These areas right here where price previously rejected from, we have these strong rejections. 1, 2, we actually have where price actually started moving very bearishly from these areas. So if I had to actually target this for an area of take profit, we'll be looking for around right here as a region to kind of come out of this trade. At least be careful, right? Because these are strong rejection levels, so we may see some pressures at that point. let's take a quick look on the 30-minute. So this is the zone that we're currently in. 30-minute chart would actually like to see just a rejection from this area. Let's see if price actually pull even lower, right? Because we do have that bearishness, and we want to kick things off with the momentum, right, on London Open and possibly to New York Open as well. So if I'm to enter long on this, guys, I'll actually be targeting right around here to actually come on the trade. Regular stop loss and the bottom of this level, something like this, will actually be the trade for me. And so I'm actually gonna input this. And first here on this 30-minute candle forming right here, we want to see a wick rejection, right, and actually see price push away from this area. That will give us a sort of a confluence was possibly seeing price continuation moving upwards, right, if we're able to maintain this area of support. I just want to see how this 30-minute kind of close. We could potentially get a trade set up here. Some of you guys been asking me why do you not have TradingView Pro and anything like that. I used to, right, but the thing is, in my country here in Trinidad, it's a hassle to get a credit card to do anything like online purchases and stuff. So I really had to be moving a sort of a roundabout way to get anything done that I need to, because here you basically can't get a credit card unless you have maybe, right, and it's not guaranteed. If you have a registered business, you might get a credit card from the bank, or the only other option is having been working somewhere for like, I believe 16 months, 16 to 18 months is the minimum for most, or like a year and a half or something like that. You have to be working in a specific job, and you gotta have a job letter then to apply for the credit card. And a lot of it's a lot of energy, right? And getting jobs in Trinidad very hard. I don't know, Trinidad is a sickening place. I'm not even gonna lie to you guys. I really don't want to be in this country. It's very small-minded and very just sickening overall, right? The people are just completely, I don't know, I don't want to like bad talk my own people, but they're just, I don't know, not on the same level as you want to, you know, be as a trader. You want to be surrounded by people like-minded and be like, you know, filled with that sort of momentum going, right? But everybody is just, it's just guns, violence every day here, just guns, violence, and a set of degenerate behavior and stuff. So it's like, yeah, Trinidad really isn't a place to be right now. So yeah, it's just a roundabout thing to actually go towards trying to get a credit card in this country. So yeah, I have like no way of actually purchasing the TradingView Pro right now until I, you know, get that resolved somehow. and that's just if I get a job and actually stay there for like 12 months, which not gonna happen. I'm not going back to that 9 to 5 life, so it's just gonna have to wait till I get out the country, I guess. I don't know. Let's see. I think possibly we may actually get this rejection, right? We might get this rejection from this level to continue moving upwards. Again, we note that bullish momentum, so this seems like a likely trade to actually play out. Now, the only thing that I'm waiting for is a possible pullback down to this region. We see I have this alert, and then getting a pullback. Now, if price does manage to pull back, back above around this area right here, right? If we're able to break above this candle wick, then I'll possibly take a new position, right? So I'm being more conservative for this right now. So if we get a candle close above this area here, then I'll just enter stop loss relatively below this candle wick and just target again back into these highs right here, back into these this daily rejection zone. I'm being more conservative here because usually I would enter this trade somewhere around this point, but it is not really worth the risk right now. Right, I've been pretty good in the VIP. We actually been doing pretty well this week. Recovered from last week. Last week was really like astonishingly very bad, right? So with that being said, last week was a no-go. Recovered from last week losses this week, as well as made some profits entirely, so it's good. And yeah, just trying to end the week off on a good note. Had some AD USD trades as well. Same thing happening here, right? So we see that price actually maintaining this zone from the initial pullback, right? I had an entry above this area right here as price came back into this so supportive area. Then we had a pullback even lower, right? I was going to enter right around this area. This was while this candle was forming, right? We never got that triggered. Price continued moving downwards. Around here, I actually took another trade. And as you can see, that trade actually is playing out right now. I'm leaving it until it reaches all the way to take profit, right? Which would be 1 to 8.5%. Right now, price is forming a support right here. So we're seeing this bearish candle formation here. Waited for that candle close. We should actually see the candle just close above this area, and then the continuation during London and New York session. The New York Open should give us some volume to see price push even higher, right? But thus far, just already everything in break-even profits, whatever the case is. And now we're just waiting. This also being a trade that I took from the bottom here, right? Price reaffirmed, came back up, and hopefully now we're going to see a continuation. Now, one of the reasons why I didn't, really follow the group, right, the herd, when it comes to retail traders and how they view the market, is because of the fundamental data, right? And what will set you apart as a trader is your understanding of fundamentals and why the market moves the way it does, right? Why it does the thing it does, and that all comes from fundamentals. So if you understand or have a fair understanding of fundamental data, know how to do fundamental analysis, that will help push you or give you the edge against everybody else that's trading when it comes to retail traders. Because at this point, when we saw that price broke down, I'm more than positive, at least 98% sure that the majority of retail traders were looking to sell at this point on the in favor of the US dollar, right? As you saw that price continue breaking down, and this was during when we had retail sales come out, jobless claims come out. So let's just take a look at this week so you know what I'm talking about if you don't follow along with news and stuff, right? So we had this information here come out here with jobless claims, had housing and some other stuff, but the main focus right now is jobless claims data, right? As well as initial jobless claim. So if even if we got a positive number, that doesn't give like a signal to start buying the USD, right? We saw the USD selling very heavily after the CPI data came out, when we had CPI, and that was after we had interest rates increase, right? So even though we had interest rates increase, price still fell for the US dollar, right? CPI came out, price still fell. Let's see what's going on here. While I'm speaking, we're gonna look at this. Oh, surprise is actually coming up here, breaking its own high. Right, so this is, if you haven't taken a trade yet, you didn't enter down here, then I would say when price closes, if we manage to close above this area here, then yeah, you could actually take the trade somewhere like right around here. Once you had that break, you take the trade, enter, stop loss right below this candle here, right below that candle form. We should get a continuation, right? So yeah, that's the trade. But yeah, so like I was stating before, right? So the US dollar continued to fall even after we had the interest rates increase. We had CPI data come out, which wasn't so hot, and then price continued falling, right? We saw the DXY continue falling as well. And the thing is, on the DXY, what investors, the hedge fund owners, the big banks, institutional traders are looking at is whether price is able to hold this next static level here, right? So this is the big thing in focus, this next supportive level, if price is able to hold that. And if you take a look here on the daily, you can see why. The DXY, the dollar, has been in a heavy uptrend, right? It's been just soaring high to the upside. And then at this point, we start seeing price actually break these formations, coming here lower. Here we got that first crack right below this support area, right? And then we saw that continuation. We saw price continue falling little by little, continuing to drag down. Now economists and or the analysts and the people that move the markets, what I'm looking at is that if this next level here, the DXY, is able to maintain itself. So if price reaches this point, what can we expect from the Fed? Are we going to see some bond selling to try and help the US dollar recover? This is where the buyers will be looking to step in. We're looking to see some sort of pressure, bullish pressure, to maintain price with this overall movement, right? Now, again, you could argue that this is a pullback on a larger time frame, yes, but that is only if the fundamentals did not align with the technicals that you are seeing, such as the bad fundamental data that we've been getting. So all of that contributed to this fall that we saw in the DXY, which, again, if you don't know, the DXY is just showing the relative USD strength. It shows the strength of the dollar, right? So we saw the dollar continuing to fall as well, right? Which is why we saw that the risk currency, the risk assets, actually started picking up and moving higher, right? So we had that shift in risk sentiment because of that dollar weakness. So hopefully that makes sense. So at that point, right, knowing that in the back of your mind as somebody that pays attention to fundamentals, and you don't need to pay like on an overall sense of, you don't need to be overly like excessive with your fundamental data. You just need to take like the large chunk of news that matters to economists, that matters to the institutional traders, right? The things that they'll be watching or expecting, right? So at this point, you need to summarize to yourself, is this really going to be the point at where we see price, the US dollar, actually rebound and gain its strength? Or is it just, the market's just doing what it does? Retail traders stepping in, they're going long for the dollar. We see that pullback, and okay, at that point, we're just going to see the USD pick up. No, not after that heavy sell-off. We're not just going to see the USD just continue spiking down. It could happen, but again, we need to note that we are in a low volume situation, ending of the year. So what is the more likely possibility, the more likely probability, right? We could see a rebound in price from that initial fall. So for me, I was just waiting for that rebound. At this point, when price came into this area, I realized that all right, we're starting to lose momentum. So this would be the next possible area I will look for a trade setup. I'll take a possible trade. So I noted that, boom, put it out here, enter the trade, and you can see price actually start moving up here. Right, price actually start moving up. Right, you actually take a look within the VIP. Right around here, right? So the only trades I was running, the riskiest setup here was that AD USD buy, right? And you can see that I entered right around here, right? But when I sent it, it was like just right above that wick formation here. Right, looking for that possible continuation moving up. All right, this sent earlier to a member, but it wasn't in the group itself, in the group here, right? So at that point, I was looking for those price continuations to happen. Again, you understand what the fundamentals are. So now you have to play with the probabilities, right? Because that's all what the market is about. It's a game of probabilities, right? And this is why some people kind of relate it to gambling, but gambling and a game of probabilities is totally different, because one requires strategy, it requires your ability to articulate information that you are given and summarize it and put it into a form where it could benefit you, right? And gambling is just letting it roll with the wind, right? Let flip with the roll of a dice. That's not what trading is. You could implement strategy. It has form. It has a uniformity to it, right? It's and implementing a strategy, understanding specific things, give rise to those higher probabilities of seeing different things play out, right? And that's all what trading is, probabilities. And it is a game of probability, right? And it requires skill. So with that being said, you understand the fundamentals. We know that the US dollar is bearish right now. The only reason why we saw that USD recovery like that is because we saw bonds selling off from the US Treasury to help the dollar recover. That didn't last long. We saw that the fundamental factors that we did have was very bearish for the dollar as well. So all of that played, okay, at this point, what's the likelihood of we're going to see that US dollar recovery right now? Super unlikely, right? So it's looking better to possibly see that this is just a pullback, right? This is just a point where buyers could actually step into this market and get into for continuations back to the upside, right? We haven't noted any change in risk sentiment as well, right? Because as you can see, with the movement of the AD/USD chart here moving upwards, as well as NZD/USD and the other risk assets, we're seeing that we are in a risk-on tone, a risk-on environment. We haven't seen that change yet, right? We haven't seen fundamental factors to point to that. We haven't seen that, and we also haven't seen any on the technical aspect. We haven't seen anything to really point to that as well. Now the thing is, right? If this was something to get into to the downside, if this was something to, like, start moving bearishly, what you like to see is pullbacks from this movement upwards, right? So you want to see like price actually starting to form lower lows, lower highs, those sort of things, the things that you learn when you now enter into the forex space as the foundation of your trading, support, resistance, and you talk about patterns or formations, lower lows, lower highs, higher lows, and so forth. When you talk about trends, that is something that you want to see first, right? The lower lows, lower highs. You want to see this uniformity of price continuing to move to the downside, right? At that point, if price cracked even lower here, right, then okay, then you can argue that maybe this is the start of seeing the US dollar recover. Maybe this is the start of where we will see a change in risk sentiment, right? And then you will look at the probabilities and say, well, okay, then maybe this is where I should, lay back from the charts, get some more confluences to just support the buyers of possibly seeing this continue moving to the downside. Right? Don't be the traders that are very quick to react and just want to, hop into the markets when they see, this starting to move down. Yeah, that's sell. No, it has no structure. Where's your entry, bro? Where is going to be an exit point? Where is going to be a stop loss? Where are you placing those important pieces of those important pieces of information that you need, right, to order to manage your risk and stuff like that, right? By the time you enter this to the downside, you see price starting to move down, you see this next movement here, some people want to enter in this candle to continue moving down, right? Markets pull back, low volume. What's the likelihood of that continuation, right? So that's something that I think a lot of people just they know, but at the same time they just don't I don't know, put in consideration, right? So yeah, going back, hopefully you understand what I'm trying to get at here as to why this wasn't a sell as yet, right? Why I still look for buys in this situation. But if I did see price actually starting to form some uniformity with price action showing that all right, we have more bearish momentum, that bearish tone kicking in, then obviously I would say, okay, maybe it's time for me to switch my bias. Maybe it's time for me to just chill back, wait and see the market to form some more levels to continue to the downside, right? But so far, thus far, we haven't gotten that. We just had that pullback, that deeper pullback, areas for price to just get some more buys to step in and correct that initial move to the downside, right? So that's possibly what we could see here. Maybe this might play all the way up here before the New York session open, or maybe we might just start seeing price consolidate. Because we don't really have volume in the markets, right? So we can't really expect much. We're expecting traders to come in during London Open, which is in the next 8 minutes, right? The next 7 minutes here, all right? So you could possibly see some momentum for that during that, as well as the New York session open. We could actually see maybe some movement, but that's basically what we're playing at here. And it's also Friday, right? Yeah, it's Friday. So with that being said, coming to market close, so it's only so much that we can get. But let's take a look at some of the other charts, right? I just like coming on here. This is probably something I'm gonna start doing more often too, because it's really like so quiet and I don't know, relaxing, so to speak, to just come on at this point of time and just get on the charts and see possible setups, possible playouts that you could get. So we look and see other possible things that we could look at here, right? Again, so next week, I'm a person, I like to plan ahead, right? So something that I do with my fundamental analysis, I look at the week after, like, okay, so this week finishing, I'll look at the week coming up, right? I'll look for the news events that we have coming for this week, right? And this is something else that's important that you should do, at least, I don't know, if you're trying to get into fundamentals and stuff like that. Something that I do is note down all the big pieces of information. I used to have a book. I wish I knew which one that book was so I could show you guys. But I'll take notes about all the high impactful news and stuff that would really influence an economy's currency, and what sort of information will be potentially focused on by the central banks and stuff like that, right? But now I make a mental note of everything and I just note it in my mind, and then I watch the price action, the new set of information we have coming out, and then summarize, okay, what is the probability of seeing this and this and that and happen and so forth. But yeah, I like looking at the upcoming week beforehand, just to get ahead of or get this fundamental analysis out of the way, so that way I have more time to like focus on charts. And coming up for 2023 is something I'm really gonna implement strongly, right? Because we have more volume, we have more trading opportunities, more areas we could possibly get into, trade setups and stuff like that, right? And that's something I don't know, people just forget to understand that businesses are closed right now, right? There's like almost no volume in the markets, right? So yeah, it's November, December, come on. Don't try to like over risk, over trade or anything like that. Take it with a grain of salt, right? Having a slow month is nothing, right? It's better to have a slow month than have a losing month, right? And I guess that's a motto that I guess I should live with too as well, because I trade every day. Um, and I'm profitable for every week that I trade. Everybody, the only losing week I had was, I believe, during September, and this last week, November, right? So last week as well. But anybody within the VIP group that see me trade, that follow along as to what I do, I don't lose often. And that's not like a bragging thing or anything like that, but I'm really in depth. I really like what I do, which is this trading thing. I really like it. I really put a lot of time and focus and energy towards it to be at the top of what I do. So yeah, and I'm branching out to hopefully help other people that want to actually get into trading as best as and start making money and all of that, because obviously the goal is to make money and be financially free in the long run. That's what we all want and what we trading for and what we strive for. But at the same time, we need the understanding. We need to be able to comprehend what it is we're doing in order to do that, right? So that's really what I want to do and help others. So yeah, but unfortunately I suffer from social anxiety, and I'm not really one to get on the get online and do all this marketing stuff and selling myself as a forex trader. Hi. But yeah, wow. Okay, so you can see here JPY, right? Actually pulled up pretty nicely. So we actually got that pull above here, the secondary entry that you got into, right? So price is pulling up. So hopefully we're able to maintain this, right? So at this point, if you entered right around here and you didn't enter the initial spot here, right? If you entered on this secondary spot here, at this point, what you should do is either lower risk, take partials, lower risk, and let it run, right? The only reason why I say that is to be more sort of just be careful of this area right here, right? So this is just areas where we have this rejection point. So this is a resistance zone, sort of, and this sort of zone that we may now be forming, right? Because price was just going to be bouncing up and down between these two areas, right? That's possibly what we're going to see potentially happen here. And as we approach London Open, we got that volume pushing price up. So you want to see a continuation with that, right? We should most likely see a continuation with that pushing all the way up. So this is a winning trade by all means. Yeah, London Open gonna happen in a minute now, right? So yeah, we should actually see price continue moving upwards with that volume. Yeah, I'm sorry guys, I got on a tangent real quickly. So I'm just gonna focus on some of the fundamentals that we have to look at for next week, and I'm probably just gonna include this as being the fundamental analysis video for the Zoom. But overall, what we have to pay attention to, the most impactful stuff here, is from the AD, the RBA Governor speech, right? This is one of the representatives for the federal banks. So what they have to say is very impactful, right? It basically gives us a sort of an overview of where, right, their head is at in terms of possibly monetary policy tightenings and stuff like that, and what they're gonna do to help curb inflation. Inflation being the theme for the past entire year, since after COVID restrictions came down and stuff like that. Inflation is the main theme, right? Inflation is the header that everybody's talking about. Everybody wants to see inflation come down, right? But it's sort of a balancing act, right? Which is why we're seeing a lot of these economies take their time and really they're slower to raise rates, as well as their overall recovery may be a little slow or may look stagnant, just because it's a balancing act, right? You don't want to aggressively tighten monetary policies or anything like that to stop the growth of the economy, because that could lead to a recession, as well as inflation continuing to move higher, right? Could also do the same thing by raising prices on goods and products and services, right? That could actually put the economy in a bind as well. So it's a balancing act. You can't tighten too fast, but at the same time, you can't allow the inflation to continue being rampant, right? So we've been seeing a lot of these economies taking it slow. They're looking at other data points to basically compare as to, okay, maybe we should start, tightening at this point. Maybe we should start doing something with our monetary policy tools or something like that to, help curb that inflationary level, right? So like looking at employment, the jobless claims for the US dollar, for example, employment rates, employment change, unemployment, and looking at overall household spending, right? That will give an idea of how, how households per person are spending within the economy. So if it's up, that means that it has room to tighten monetary policies again, so raise rates. That way it could lower spending, right? Consumer spending is something you want to lower as well. That's where you see that, okay, we're heading into the right direction of helping out inflation, bring it back into normal levels, right? So yeah, looking at governor's speech first thing, that's the Tuesday. Other things to pay attention to, we have the interest rate decision, right? So rates are expected to increase by 75 base points. I would say base points. I'm not too entirely sure what it is at this point, because I just get it mixed up between base and bias points, but I'm saying base points, right? So 75 base points. With that being said, right, for the couple of news, I think I'm not entirely sure if it was for the NTD, but we did have, when we had a rate expectancy and it didn't come out as expected, right? The thing that we've been seeing from the markets in terms of the expectancy from all these hedge fund owners and the main movers is we're expecting rates to raise by 100 base points, right? So with that being said, seeing that 75 base point increase, also depending on where the economy is at in terms of other fundamental factors, may actually be a damper on the NZD itself, right? So we may not actually get a bullish movement, but rather a bearish kind of tone hitting the NZD, right? So it all depends on these other factors, and I'll actually take a look at that later, right? As I mentioned it. But this is the next set of data that we have to look at, and where we could potentially see a move from price, right? So most definitely this is in the view as well. Moving forward, we have more jobless claims and stuff, right? So you have a lot more jobless claims information to come for next week. So these are potential movers as well. And we can see the consensus is actually good, right? Looking at the last month, comparing the last month of November, right? We can see that the consensus, the previous was 222,000 and the consensus is 228,000, right? So depending on if we actually get the actual being more or just just the same, then we could just potentially see price do nothing. But if it's less, then that's just adding a damper on the US dollar, right? So we may see USD continue falling or just giving out gains, and we should continue seeing the risk assets continue shooting up, right? So that's the thing. We have to wait to actually see all these news events come out. And the other big news event that we have here is the FOMC minutes, right? So this is something that's highly impactful for the US dollar. Whatever we get in this may be the catalyst to actually cause a change in the USD, but for now, bearish US dollar. So that's just what I'm rolling with. We could potentially actually see the USD recover too, in terms of market expectancy, right? Sometimes these folders, the minutes, and also when we have other news data, do hold information that the markets are expecting. And this is the thing, market expectancy, what is expected to happen, markets could run with that sometimes early on before the actual news, right? So with that being said, this may be the catalyst to help the US dollar recover from some of its earlier losses, right? Um, but for now, continuing with that USD sell-offs, it just looks like a higher probability to see that US dollar continue to just give off, right? Um, so I'm not too concerned about starting to buy the US dollar now or anything like that, right? Awesome. Looking at the GBP JPY. See this zone right here, rejective zone, price pulling back a little bit. Could actually take another entry right. It's already started getting up. You could take another entry right here, right? Again with that bullishness, we should see that continuation moving up. So this would just be a sort of a pullback from the initial open, and then we should see price actually continue moving upwards, right? Again, with this bullish candle formation, that is the expectancy, more likely probable thing to happen. But knowing markets, anything is possible. This whole thing can just get corrected, right? So it's whether you have the risk appetite for it, then you could take a additional trade right here and just let it run. For a small position, it doesn't make sense to like overly put too much risk on it, because that is sort of a riskier setup. But yeah, for a small position, you could actually take a possible trade riding all the way back up there. All right, so this was a nice little setup here, a nice little gain. If anybody watch this, excuse. All right, let's see. Anybody? So if you're watching the stream right now, type in the chat. I really need to get a secondary monitor to make this whole thing easier. But again, no credit card, so I can't really do any purchases online right now. But we'll see, right? I'm working towards getting that issue fixed and getting a more comprehensive setup, so that everything could be a little more easier with my workflow. And I'm actually starting to do a couple of things, right? So I'm just gonna rant about myself a little bit. I'm a polymath, right? And basically that means I'm a person that likes learning new things, and I just love learning new things, right? That interests me. So I love mathematics, I love physics, I love sciences on a whole. Quantum sciences is something that I really love as well. I'm passionate about, and I picked up doing certain business aspects as well. I actually want to do a business management course, but again, Trinidad is very, very difficult with the universities and whatnot here. But it is something that I want to do as well, and getting a more of a better understanding of business management, right? So that's something as well that I'd like to do. So that's basically where I'm at right now in terms of like my life and what I'm working to excel towards. So you guys are gonna see me actually start talking a little bit more of that. You might see me coming on stream just completely dragged down because I have assignments and other stuff to complete. All right. Yeah, but let's get back to the chat, right? So if you guys watching, feel free to actually type any comment, right? Yeah, London sessions are actually really cool, right? It's something that I'll try to practice more. The only reason why I didn't start it before, guys, to be very honest, is because there's so much people doing it, right? And yes, it's like basically everybody that from what I've seen in terms of like streamers, everybody just focuses on the JPY and gold, right? Personally, I hate gold. I do not meddle with gold at all. And to me, gold, and I'm sorry for my English, for my language right now, but to me, gold is just like the perfect example of a red woman. Like, I do not trust gold. I have complete trust issues against gold. I'm totally against it. So personally, I don't trade it. All right. But yeah, everybody trades JPY. So I've been contemplating to like start doing it earlier on. But I really don't know, because there's so many people focusing on it and doing it. It's like, okay, you come to the stream, you see what I'm doing, everybody else is doing it, right? I want to be able to stand out in a way that help guides more people towards the stream itself, so that I could better help or like reach a wider audience, right? But again, social anxiety, I really don't like talking much, um to people and stuff like that, and like self-advertising is something that I do as well. um so yeah, I've been struggling with that. But hey, if we continue to get trades like this, then yeah, most definitely London sessions. Yeah, we're gonna see a lot more of us. All right. Um. Yeah, most definitely. But yeah, I think that since everybody's been doing it, I've just had a sort of a, I don't know, kind of how to say, a dislike towards actually getting involved in it myself, right? But I know some of you guys, everybody has different time zones and stuff when they're available to trade. And yeah, if I'm able to help, or if this is beneficial to anybody at any point of time, this is something that I could do and it really helps somebody out, then I'm all for it, most definitely, right? So yeah, London sessions, we might be adding this on to the list of live streams that we get into, right? um yeah, and again, also leave a like. I don't say this often, but leave a like on the stream. It really helps the channel, right? And you can watch any of the other videos that I do have, the live streams, because I keep on ranting and talking and giving out a set of free information in terms of fundamental understanding and technical analysis, from all the other live streams that I've posted thus far too. So you could check those out. Leave a like on this one. Helps the YouTube algorithm, help reach more people that may be struggling with their trading as well. And just, grow the community overall. I just really want to branch out, reach more people, like-minded people, and be able to help as much people as I can. My goal for 2023 is to change at least 50 to 100 lives. That's my goal, and that's what I'm aiming for. All right, that's what I want to do, and it's I can't do it alone, right? So I'm gonna need you guys to help me out with liking the stream, help branching it out there, getting people that this could potentially help, and yeah, hopefully grow the community, because I'm really passionate about it. And if I could help people, that's like the most insane thing to me. That if I'm able to help people, actual real people, change their lives for the better, and that's like, when I think about it, I get so happy, because I don't know, there's nothing more fulfilling than that to me, honestly. Because yeah, it's like something that I can't comprehend it for myself, like in words to explain it, but it just brings joy to me when I think about it. When people actually say, thanks, you really helped me out, I'm understanding, I'm getting a better grasp on this. It makes me feel good, right? So I really want to help people out and stuff like that, right? So yeah, let's take a look at the other charts, right? I've been staring at 80 USD for a little bit, right? So I'm seeing that price currently dropping back here. So at this point, take a look at the 1 hour, right? Take a look at it 4 hour. Right, so I haven't made trade open on this, and like I said, I want to see price reach into this target area, right? But noting again, with the low volume, going to basically expect volume from the session openings, right? There's a likelihood that price may just start to consolidate at this point, right? Looking here at the 4 hour, I like to see more of a rejection from this level, right? We have an hour and 44 minutes. So depending on how this hourly candle forms, I'll actually start taking out some of my positions. Yeah, some of my positions just to secure some profits. Because I'm like insanely up. I'm not saying that to brag or anything, but I'm just saying that this could come all the way back down. It doesn't affect me, but at the same time, I'm trying to maximize my gains. I might move in next week with a more of aggressive um risk per trade. All right. So yeah, I'm trying to maximize the gains as well, right? So I'm contemplating. It looks like this area would possibly hold. I'm looking at these two rejections from this area right here. This could just be from the volume, which is why price is pushing right now. And we only have a couple minutes in, right? So I'll wait until the candle close of this candle to see, what else I could potentially do with this, right? So we'll just wait and see, right? AD CAD, same thing, right? Price is pulling down here, right at the entry zone. Yeah, I'm gonna leave this as well. We'll see what our price does, right? And look at the JPY continuing to move up. Lovely, lovely. Also, you guys hearing the music though? I don't know how the whole setup and everything is new to me. It's only myself and the vast inventory that is YouTube and the search bar. So I don't really know what if I'm doing it correctly, but I have my audio from my laptop as an output device in OBS, and I'm playing some jazz music in the background, but I don't know if that's like being heard clearly or anything. I don't know. I might have to look up how to do it better, but I thought I was doing it correctly before, but I don't know. I'll have to rewatch the stream and actually taking in for myself to know if I have it playing correctly, if it's working correctly or not. All right, I don't actually have. Yeah, the things that we have to be looking at in terms of everything that we have going on right now. Like it's been a crazy year. When you think about it, the year is finishing pretty quickly. Honestly, it flew by. It flew by actually. Right? It's been really, really crazy. All the things that's happened thus far to us for this year and for the past couple of years with COVID. Yeah, like I don't think anybody actually expected something like COVID to come around where it'll affect the world itself. Like I for myself at the point of time when we had COVID come out in China, whatever, whatever. I was like, I told my mother, look how this is gonna become a worldwide pandemic, right? Because when you think about logistics and how easy it is like to traveling, access to traveling and everything is, it's like an overall like overpopulation as well. It's like a breeding ground for diseases. So I was like, this shit is probably just gonna hit real quick and spread. But I didn't expect it to actually, become something at the point where a set of lockdowns and stuff like that, right? And we had that happening. Like we live through history, honestly, if you think about it. That's so wild. We lived in a time where it'll go down in like the history books, like just like how it had the Spanish flu, right? The Black Plague. This was basically like a plague itself. Maybe not as severe, but was something that affected the entire world, broke down a set of logistic structures, right? It it made economies come to a halt, right? And now we're suffering from high inflation and all these other things, right? Because as time goes, we get more complex in terms of like our social structures and everything. So we have more issues to deal with now, such as the high inflation, food cost prices, and all of this, and like logistics between each economy and countries and stuff like that. So it's like we have more issues to deal with now, right? And this all stems from COVID, uh, a flu, basically, right? Like we just like had to simplify a flu, crush the entire economy of the world, and then we had like the war and stuff with Russia and stuff like that. And also affect some logistic issues, brought up some logistic issues and we have food price increases and stuff like that because of that as well. So like we lived through history. A lot of things have happened that I don't think anybody could have fathomed at the point in time that would have been possible, right? Or like a likelihood of that would have happened. So it's crazy to think about it, really. Yeah, but damn. Um, Continuing on next year, hopefully things get a little better. We see more recovery and stuff like that. That's what I'm looking at, and potentially we could just be in an overall better situation globally. All right. I don't think anybody was prepared for this. So hopefully we catch a break next year. That's what I'm hoping for, a break. I'm just trying to take a break next year. And just so I'm looking at this pullback here, and we have 37 minutes on this candle, right? So from this candle formation, it looks like we might just get a spike upwards back into these levels, right? Looking thus far at the candle formation, we have 7 minutes for this candle to close. So on the next 30-minute candle, we might just get another push upwards. Yeah, we might actually get another push upwards. So it depends. Just waiting for that candle close to really confirm that. I think we have anything else to really be focusing on a Friday. All right. Take a look. Nah. I feel like this is something that you actually have to expect a lot of times when you have low volume situation. There's choppiness, consolidation, choppiness, all of that. So I think like a lot of these a lot of them really give anything. GBP card, right? Damn, maybe I should have gotten this instead of like 80k. On a daily, overall gradual downtrend, sort of a pullback back into the zone. Taking a look at the 4-hour. Oh, we saw some more like buying on the GBP, right? And we saw that the card was falling along with that USD strength weakening as well. So we saw price continuing moving forward here, even though the pound itself, the currency isn't really that attractive to me, right? But with that being said, looking at the overall technicals and market dynamics, what we have going on, I don't know if I'll actually, look to place any bets on something like GP card, right? In terms of like the overall technicals, it's kinda in a mess too, right? Because we end this zone, right, on the daily structure. Overall, strong downtrend to the downside. Coming here to the 4-hour and the 1-hour, we saw that recent times price was coming up, right? It's not like a bullish push up just because we were moving off of that CAD weakness, really, right? And that US dollar weakness, right? Which gave rise to the other currencies, pushing higher. So yeah, this probably maybe next week, right? Again, we have some good stuff coming for next week, right? Maybe we might see price push down. I mean, looking at the retail sales numbers and stuff, and not looking too hot. But I don't know. Yeah, I'm not too certain about this, right? Because neither one is really attractive. So maybe price might pull down, or maybe it might continue pushing up. But with that US dollar weakness being the main mover as to why price moving the way it's moving, right? So this is like a hold off for now. Anything else that we have going on? I saw that the NZD was selling off as well a little bit. All right, let's take a look at the NZD. Sorry, NZD was gaining strength. Sorry. Oh. NZD USD. And look at the daily time frame. So we have these quick rejections from this area right here. So we might have reached the point of this daily resistance here, right? This may be the point as to where price may turn on this, right? Depends on where we get this candle, how this candle closes, right? It may close bullishly above these levels or just fill these wicks, right? But this might be the area for where we could possibly see a turnaround too, right? Again, we eyeing some key spots, right? On the daily time frame, we eyeing some key spots for the US dollar. It's areas where we could potentially see sellers step in. If we get some more USD strength, then we'll just slam all the way back down, right? We could see some heavy buy-in from the US dollar if we do see a break back down to the downside, right? After the initial break, if we get a break below this resistance here, then price should continue downwards, right? So if we get a break below this support, right, we should see price continue downwards. Again, that's where we'll have like heavy sell orders and stuff like that to help influence and push price lower. And if we see the US dollar recover, then we'll have more confidence in the dollar, and therefore those sells become more justifiable, and we'll see that USD strength continue pumping, and we might just get some red candle days, right? Just like right around this region here, we might see that, like this right here, we might see that just being something that forms and happen here too. All right, so it depends. It really depends on the next set of news that we do get for the dollar, and if we get any reassurance or reaffirmation, maybe during the FOMC minutes, we might get that. And that might help push the US dollar stronger. Yeah, but for now, nah, it's whatever. We're not too worried about it. Right. Anything that you guys want to take a look at, let me know. Let me know. So if anybody have any anything they want to look at, and let me know. We could probably take a look at it. I think I really covered like the main stuff like in focus right now, right? Because everything else is like run off, and we've been seeing it. Price runoffs, consolidates. Price runs down, consolidates. Next week we have a run consolidation, and that's how it's just been going in these low volume situations. All right, let's take a look like what we have going on here. Check that later. All right, so hopefully, just waiting. All right, so you're coming on the close of this candle, the secondary entry. Boom, for price to go up, risking 4%. That's the trade, guys. That's the winning trade of the day. So like this, just ending on a good note, right? Lovely. I'm gonna really need that second monitor, right? I can't be popping this up all the time just check shit. Let's see what the other JPY crossfade is doing. Alright, so you can see like the difference as to understanding like session times, when we have volume hitting the markets as well, right? Because take a look at these, right? Take a look at these trades, right? In terms of like the cross pairs with the JPY, with the yen itself, right? No real movement, right? We can take the trade that we took on the JPY on these here, right? Why? Because London session deals with the pound, right? That is the GBP. That's where we'll get the volume to see price push. Let's take a look at the US dollar here. USD JPY. Let me just reset this. Take a look at the daily, right? Sorry, guys. Right, so that US dollar weakness, price pulled down, consolidation, daily consolidation, 4 hour zone created, right? This is the zone that we're trading within. Got the 1 hour. This is just like zone trading right here, right? This might potentially trail back down. Now, I'm not gonna risk it, obviously, but it's just like something to note as well. When you have like USD dollar weakness, how it translates across all the other pairs, right? And also when you're trading something like GP, JPY during London session, you're not necessarily gonna see moves like that reflected in the other sessions, other currency pairs, again, because you're dealing with different session times, you're dealing with different currencies, right? Each of them do move differently to some aspect, and they do share similarities as well, right? But understanding the importance of session times, as well as understanding the trading environment that you are in, right? When you place a trade, the times you take it and stuff like that will help to create further your trading journey, right? Or increase your profitability, so to speak, right? So yeah, just something to note, guys. All right, and yeah, so I'm like, this kind of funny right now. As where we took the 4% risk, trying to see this close above here. If we get that close above this zone, this area right here, then yeah, that continuation seems even more in reach, right? So yeah, that's basically it. Don't really have nothing else to pay attention to. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty tired because I actually slept yesterday evening, right? So I had all the energy last night, early this morning, and now like I just completely effed my own sleeping schedule, right? So this was a trade, played out. Could take your profits right now if you want to and be more conservative, or let it play out all the way up. Most likely we're gonna see that play out to the top, but again, this is all probabilities, so don't take my word for it. I'm just a trader, not a financial broker or anything like that. I don't have my PhD or degree in finance, anything like that. Not a finance advisor, anything like that. So let me just state that clearly. If you risk 10% on this and you lose it, not my fault. It's all about being comfortable with your own risk as well, on whatever trades that you do take, right? And so that being said, I'm gonna end the stream here, guys. Thank you for joining in. Hopefully you found some information, found this useful, and yeah, leave a like if you're watching this now. If you came back and you watch it, maybe skip to the end, I don't know. Just leave a like as well, as it helps the YouTube algorithm and really gets the video out there to more people, and we could get more people in here, right? So yeah, these live sessions during London sessions will become more frequently, and yeah, thank you for joining in, and I'll see you guys sometime during the course of today, right? Those that are in the TrinFx Discord community, link in the description as well. So yeah, I'll see you guys sometime during the course of the day. All right, so thank you for joining. Take care, peace, have a great trading day, and